Hi everyone, it's Fatu with Good to Know, and I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Today we're going to be talking about affirmative action and the scandals surrounding Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman and them being indicted in connection to conspiracy surrounding bribery and college admissions. And before I go any further, make sure you subscribe. Okay, thanks. So if you don't know who Lori or Felicity are, that's to be expected because their careers have already peaked. And that's not even shade, it's just a fact. Lori Loughlin is most known for being Aunt Becky on Full House, and Felicity Huffman is most known for playing Lynette on Desperate Housewives, which is ironic because paying for your daughter to go to college, well, not paying for your daughter to go to college, paying to, you know what I mean. It's a Desperate Housewife move. But that's neither here or there right now because, right now they're both well known for paying ridiculous amounts of money to get their kids into elite colleges, not based on merit. And can I just say how sad that is? Like, think about that. Your parents are wealthy, so you already have so many steps ahead of other people in terms of the access you have to good education, money to participate in different sports and activities, and the resources to travel and be cultured. But instead of using that privilege to your favor and becoming, a decent, well-rounded person, your parents have to drop $500,000 US dollars to get you into a school because you weren't smart, talented, or hardworking enough to get into the school by yourself. Ooh, okay, let me stop going off topic because I don't want to come for anybody else. But circling back, Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman are 2 of 50 people in 6 states who are being charged by federal prosecutors with conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services fraud in relation to bribery in college admissions. 33 out of the 50 are parents, and the rest were tutors, counselors, and athletic directors who accepted the bribes to help admit these kids undeservingly into these schools. Lori Loughlin and her husband, Massimo Giannulli, and side note, Massimo Giannulli is the creator of the brand Massimo, which is in Target, and I think it might be in Walmart now, but so they have some money for sure. And those 2 paid $500,000 worth of bribes to get their 2 daughters into USC. They did it by paying to have them listed as recruits for the USC crew team, despite the fact that neither of them ever participated in crew. Ever. Both of the daughters, ironically, are influencers, and in a YouTube Q&A, one daughter, Olivia Jade, said, I quote, "I don't know how much of school I'm going to attend, but I'm going to go and talk to the deans and everyone and hope that I can try and balance it all. But I do want to experience all the game days and the partying. I don't really care about school, as you guys know." She said this verbatim, and here, I got a clip.
I'm going to attend, but I'm going to go in and talk to my deans and everyone and hope that I can try and balance it all. But I do want the experience of game days, partying. I don't really care about school, as you guys all know. I don't know.
You heard that. You heard it fresh off the press. She said that in one of her own videos, and it's coming to bite her in the butt now. She just got dropped in a partnership she had with Sephora, which sucks, but the theme of this episode is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I want to say that again. Play stupid games, and you will win stupid prizes. Felicity Huffman paid to have someone proctor her daughter's SAT and then correct the answers for her. And after doing that, her daughter's SAT score went up 400 points because someone corrected it for her. And one thing that really makes me mad is that one parent claimed that one of their kids had a learning disability, and when you do that, if you claim that your child has a learning disability or you get proof of it, you can get extra time on your SAT or your ACT. And with that, then you're allowed to take the SAT over 2 days. So this person took the SAT over 2 days and still paid to have someone correct the answers. How crazy is that? It just makes me so mad because I have a math learning disability and I also have ADD. And I didn't find that out until college. And I paid myself to have 3 weeks worth of testing to find this out. And so like my last 2 years of college, I was given extended time on exams and extended time to finish assignments because I genuinely needed it. And, throughout life, if I'm being totally honest, people have used affirmative action to downplay my success and the successes of so many other people of color. And it's honestly really messed up. So I just want to explain just for a minute what affirmative action is. Affirmative action is the practice or policy of favoring individuals belonging to groups known to have been discriminated against previously. But people like to deflect and be purposely obtuse and claim that minorities have the benefit of getting things because of affirmative action and they just get something because they're black or get something because they're Native American. You've heard it before. It's like someone gets into a really, really good school. Usually they already have great grades, took AP classes, got to have a great SAT score, but people are going to say, oh no, she got that because she was black. Only affirmative action. Like she didn't get it because she was smart. And I hate those people. Oh my goodness. And affirmative action isn't giving people unfair advantages. It's just trying to level the playing field. And people are so up in arms about minorities benefiting from affirmative action, allegedly, in college admissions, but nobody ever complains about legacy students who get in because maybe they had 4 generations of their family going to that school, or really rich people who pay their way to get in. And let's not forget, can we please not forget the athletes who are dumber than a can of paint, but get into schools because they can, tackle some guys, shoot a basketball or something. That is the craziest part. Because there are definitely some guys I went to school with. Granted, I went to a state school in Eastern Washington, but I knew some guys that were on a football team that probably could not read a Junior B. Jones book. And that it's just the truth. But hey, nobody's complaining about them going to school for free. And, what people don't realize is that the primary beneficiaries of affirmative action have been white women. Yet, white women are almost never at the center of the conversation. In 1995, 2 decades after affirmative action started in the private sector, a report by the California Senate Government Organization Committee found that white women held a majority of the managerial jobs compared to African Americans, Latinos, and Asian Americans. Because of this, we're still needing to bridge the gap and even the playing field. My personal accomplishments before, multiple times, have been discredited when people say that I only got them because of affirmative action just because I'm black. And that's because it fits their narrative. When in reality, I worked my ass off and completed an entire junior year in 1 semester, graduated from high school at 16, got scholarships, went to university, and graduated at 20 and got a job with a huge, respected company. I achieved all those things for my hard work despite having a learning disability, a single mom, African immigrant parents, and going to some whack public school in Auburn. And despite that, people still have something to say, and I still have heard, even when I got my job and graduated school, someone brought up affirmative action, and it's just crazy to me. And people don't believe it, but this really happens. And I've been reading Twitter and seeing so many stories from so many other people telling their stories about how people have accused them of getting things just because of affirmative action and discrediting their accomplishments, when meanwhile things like this are happening and we don't even know. But I'm glad the light is being shown. We are seeing light. And it drives me up the wall when people just have the audacity to question my accomplishments and discredit my achievements and anybody else's achievements, when in reality, they're just projecting their own failures onto me. And it makes me sad knowing that there are so many people like me in similar situations or worse that grind and save and work their butts off studying and learning as much as they can to get into these schools, to actually have an education and do something with their lives. And other people can just have their parents write them a check and they get into these top schools just to be an influencer. And hey, no shade to influencers, but you don't need to say you're going to Yale, but you're an influencer and you're never at school and you're just posting about makeup. Like, what's the point? And it doesn't just stop with school. The same thing happens in jobs as well. The wealthy elite that these stories are about have always had this going on. And if nothing is done, it'll always happen. And people are always going to use their wealth and access to get into spaces when it's not always deserved. And for the last time, I just want to reiterate that people don't get into schools solely because of their race. I'm emphasizing solely because that's what people like to think to make themselves feel better about the fact that they simply weren't good enough to get into a certain school or get a certain job. Sometimes it's just not a right fit. I mean, come on, if affirmative action was as easy as people make it out to be, I would have graduated from an Ivy League or somewhere like Stanford or Berkeley or, I don't know, Vanderbilt, Georgetown, and not some random state school in the middle of nowhere surrounded by wheat fields in Eastern Washington. Come on, guys. And if you're against affirmative action, I just want you to ask yourself, why do you think that the playing field shouldn't be made equal for disadvantaged groups? And think to yourself, is my opinion on this a projection of my own insecurities? Well, with that being said, that is all for today. Thanks for listening, and I really hope you get something out of this. I appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe and share with friends, family, anybody. Bye!